Say, man. You, come here. Come here, man. You ready for this year? Are you ready? Nah, man. Don't tell me yeah and you ain't ready. I need you to be sure. Cause last year, I'll be honest, I thought I was ready. But I wasn't. I had to hit the books. I had to hit the drawing board, write a couple things down. And I'll tell you my top 3 things in which I think is gonna make sure I'm ready this year. So I'll give you some time. Go ahead and pull out a piece of paper, pull out your iPhone. Shit. I mean, excuse my language, but shit, man. Pull something out. Cause I promise it'll work. And I'm gonna tell you what it's gonna take. I'm gonna make sure I hold myself accountable too. And the first thing I wrote down, which I think is the most important, real talk, most important. It's with anything, man. It's consistency. Stay consistent. So what that means is, I'm gonna have some bangers for you guys. I'll get to the next 2 later. Let's get to it.
Alright, let's jump right into this. I'm gonna take my 2 guard on my Andes Masters, and I'm taking off all the bolts. By the way, this guard is completely closed. Now I take my trimmer and I'm going to make my first guideline. I usually do a mid taper, temple taper, right about where, if he was wearing glasses, where it go right around his ear, that's usually where the first guideline will start. Now I got my Andes Masters completely open. Always remember, when you're making your guidelines, they want to be, whether you make them in a rainbow shape, a straight line, whatever you prefer, whatever style you choose, make sure that it's consistent. Make sure all the hair is taken down to one length and go into your next guard, which is my 0 guard. Now I'm creating my second guideline with my 0 guard, going up about an inch, flicking out. I think it's easier if you make a C motion, flicking the wrist towards yourself. It blends right into the next guard. And all I'm doing is the same step, closing it up all the way, and now I'm attacking that bottom line. Then I take my 1 guard. This is completely open and I'm going up, still using the C motion, flicking towards myself and making sure it blends into the top of the hair. You never want to take this guard straight in and keep it on the scalp. That's going to create another guideline. Now I got my 1 guard completely closed and I'm taking off the line. I'm using nothing but corners right here. It's important when you're doing a taper, use majority of the corners. You want to stay away from the whole blade. Now I have no guard on and I'm going completely closed right here. Still attacking that bottom line. You're gonna see me play with the lever, which controls how much hair you take off. The closer it is to close, the more hair you're gonna take off. So be careful on this step. When it's completely closed, you do not want to take the fade up too high. Then you will have a problem and you'll create more work for yourself. What I'm doing now is detail work. I have the 0 guard on, just using nothing but the corners, making sure the blend is completely clean. Now I use my comb, I'm just softening up that line.
Jay did this.
Taking off the bolt. That way when I go in with my trimmer right here, it's real clean, real sharp. Take your time right here. You really want to take your time. You don't want to make that C cut too far in. I know you can be tempted to make it super sharp, especially with somebody that doesn't have dark hair. You want to take it in, and sometimes the grow out process on that just won't look good. I always say keep it natural. It'll look real clean that first day, but if you want your client to come back, don't take it too far in. There's nothing worse than a pushback. Alright, so the reason I started with the side taper was because I did not get to record this back taper. So it's basically the same steps. You start off making your first guideline with the trimmer, and the second guideline I'm doing now with my Andes open, I'm making my second guideline. Now I'm taking my 0 guard and I have it completely open, doing the same steps, taking it up an inch, making sure I'm flicking out. Always flick the wrist towards yourself. You want to make a C-cut motion. If you don't, you can take the guideline too high, or you can create more lines than you need to. Now you see that line I created with the 0 guard. I closed the clipper all the way, keep the 0 guard on, and I'm attacking that line, making sure I take it out, smoothing it out. You don't want to go too high on this step. This is what keeps the taper nice and dark. So I'm using nothing but my corners when I detail work. You'll notice me focusing more on the corners of his taper, because if you can tell, there's indentions on the back of his neck, so it can give an illusion that it's darker than it really is. So you got to go in and pay more close attention to that area. Now I have my 1 guard completely open. All I'm doing is flicking out. I'm really not putting in any guideline. I'm scooping out towards me and blending it to the top of the hair. That way it has that nice and smooth transition into the top of the hair. I go back with my 1 guard completely closed, and I'm using the corners, flicking out any dark spots I see. And what you're seeing in this video is the exact steps I take on every haircut I do. This is my daily process. Stick to your routine. I found mine, and I'm just trying to master it. Now I have no guard halfway, and I'm softening that bottom line. Like I told you with the side taper, you do not want to take this clipper too high. It will mess up all the work you just did. Now don't be too scared and not cut any hair, but really pay close attention to every hair that you see towards the bottom line. This is the last step I do in completing all my fades is no guard. Now I got it completely closed, using nothing but my corners. If you notice, I'm just tapping at that bottom line. You don't have to do too much work. Once the clipper's completely closed, it'll come together. And now this is my detail work. This is my bread and butter right here. You go in with the 0 guard, completely closed. And you're not gonna create any guidelines. You're not gonna use the whole blade. All you're doing is using the corners and picking out those dark spots. Take off some of that hair, fill the edge up, that I'm gonna go back and do, and that's exactly what I'm attacking right now. To me, this is the most satisfying part of any taper. It brings the whole fade together. It's just so clean, man, so crisp. Once you get to the top of the ear, you want to use only the corner. It's kind of like, the way I see it is using a pencil, a pen. You focus in, and barely scoop, creating that arch when you get to the top of the ear. And remember, when you're lining up around the ear, you want to keep a comb, a brush, something on deck to brush the hair down. because you can go and make a sharp line, but if you're not brushing, when that client goes home, goes and takes a shower, or goes and messes with his hair and the hair goes over that line, it's gonna look like you did no lineup at all. So keep brushing, keep combing, and keep that on deck. Same thing on this side. Use it like a pencil and create that arch right above the ear. And boom, now we on the right side of his temple fade. And we're gonna speed this part up. It's the same exact steps. Here we are with the front lineup. Please pay attention at his widow's peak. My client did not want that on the front of his lineup, so I'm gonna go high enough to take off the widow's peak, but not too high to cut off the corner of his lineup. And all you wanna do is look at it, stand right in front of your client. Eye to eye, make sure you don't make eye to eye contact. You know, that's unspoken barber rules. You never wanna look at your client's eye, or vice versa, and stand right in front of them and make sure it's leveled on both sides. Don't be embarrassed in standing right in front of them. I know when you just starting off, it could be a little suspect, but make sure you tell your client, relax, close your eyes, make sure that lineup's real sharp, real even. Now you go in with your razor and make sure all the work that you did with the trimmer does not get messed up with the straight razor. All you're doing is taking off those little hairs, just so that way the lineup has some longevity. It'll last a few days longer. And the lineup's coming out real clean right now. You can see it all coming. You can see it all coming together now. Tilt the head of your client over. Make sure you're comfortable in what you're doing. You never want to, especially when you're cutting all day, you never want to stress your back out. You don't want to be bent over. You want to make yourself as most comfortable as you possibly can. And just like that, baby, we done. On a mid-taper temple fade on my boy. Shout out my client, man. He came through. Always comes through and shows love. And I can't wait to drop the next video, man. Make sure you guys look out for it. If you enjoyed watching this video, I appreciate you. Drop a like if you did. If you didn't like it, you don't have to like it. Subscribe if you do, if you want to see more content. I'll catch y'all soon.